Today's tea is a double steeped English breakfast blend served out of a Jurassic Park themed Universal Studios mug that I got for my father and then promptly took back from him last year when we went through his apartment after he died. That was a little dark for an intro video. I am in a weird mood tonight. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and this is all about my life after gastric bypass surgery. Today is my 8-month post-op update video. I will tell you, it seems like time absolutely flew by between 7 and 8 months. I don't know what happened. You know, the first 6 months, I really feel like there was a lot happening and there were a lot of changes and everything, in quick succession. And so it was a lot more interesting for these updates. But once you kind of get into the groove of things, although there are changes and definitely things that I feel like I really noticed this month versus other months, it's not really the same as like right after surgery. But I keep having to tell myself, just like I do with my puppy, that it's only been 8 months. I mean, it's really, in the grand scheme of things, not that long, and I'm still what I would consider very recently post-op. I have to remind myself all the time that my puppy is only 7 months old. Like, he looks like a dog. Like, he looks like a small dog compared to when we brought him home and he was a small potato. But that hasn't been that much time. He's still a baby. He's still young. He's still learning. And I really feel kind of a parallel there in a weird way. Like, I'm not a dog, but it really does feel like I have to take a step back and remember, like, you're still pretty early on in this thing, and there's still a lot of stuff to keep in mind and a lot of changes that are happening. I'm going to jump into my stats right away because I'm sure that's what most people are interested in, and in all honesty, it's a weird one this month. So I'm going to throw them up right here like usual. You'd think after 8 months I would figure this out and I would weigh myself every month on the 1st. But for some reason that didn't occur to me until right now. So I did weigh myself yesterday on the 1st, and that's going to be a thing from now on. But before that, I didn't. I just always weighed on Tuesday because that was always my weigh-in day. So the previous date that I have is actually June 29th. That's the closest to the 1st of the month that I have. So June 29th, I weighed 249.4 pounds. And yesterday, August 1st, so just a little bit over a month, I weighed 243.2 pounds, which is a 6.2 pound loss for the month. And if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll know that that is the absolute lowest it's ever been in a whole month-long period. In fact, it's about half of, I think, what I've been doing on a normal basis, which is about 11 to 12 pounds a month. That's a perfect segue into the first topic I wanted to talk about, which is the fact that this was the first month that I've experienced weight gain for the first time. One of my weigh-in days this week, I was 2.2 pounds heavier, and that's never happened to me before. I've lost like, 0.5 or something, but I've never actually gained any weight since surgery. And as far as I can tell, it was a total fluke. There's no real good reason for it. I've been within the same amount of calories and macro goals pretty much the whole time. I do switch things up here and there, but there was nothing really drastic that I really feel happened. And the very next week, I pretty much lost all of it. So I do know for a fact that stalls and kind of fluctuations and stuff happen. They happen in any weight loss journey, with or without weight loss surgery. I've been very, very lucky, if you want to call it that, for not experiencing that so far in my journey. I have been down every week some amount of weight. I have to keep perspective that that's not really normal. It's really not normal. Stalls and fluctuations are completely normal. And in a way, it actually was problematic, I think, because it just kind of got me in this routine of always being down. And so when I was up a little bit, even though it was really no fault of my own, it took a lot of self-talk to remember that it's fine, it's okay. But because of that, I had a whole week where I kind of fell behind, so to speak, in my weight loss. And that's resulted in a really low amount lost for this month, at least comparatively. The other thing is, I would say that I'm kind of experiencing as close to a stall as I ever have before. Yesterday, I weighed in, as I said, at 243.2 pounds. And the Tuesday prior on my weigh-in day, I weighed 243. So I was actually up 0.2 pounds from Tuesday. And then just out of sheer curiosity, I weighed myself this morning and I was back to 243. So I am on track right now to have lost nothing by tomorrow, which is my weigh-in day. And that would be kind of the first stall that I've really experienced. I really do hesitate to call it that because I think that a stall needs to be more than 1 week. It needs to last a certain amount of time for you to really think that your body is stalling. I do think language matters. I think that it does matter what we say and what we label things as. So when people say, well, I've stalled, I haven't lost weight in 2 days, your body fluctuates within a weekly period. In fact, your body fluctuates within a monthly period. And so if we're looking at these, minute times and, these little pieces of information, it's not really accurate. And I think it's important to say that. So this is the first time that I'm really experiencing not losing any weight in a week, staying pretty much completely the same for the whole week long. I do think that there are some reasons for that. Why do I have this pen? One of the big things is that if you saw my last video, which I will go ahead and link it, but I have been working really hard on trying to get 10,000 steps every day. And as of this weekend, I have now done it 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks in a row, every single day. Weekends and weekdays, you guys. 10,000 or more steps every day. I've hit that goal. And that's the most active that I've been in a long time. Like a long time. But I also think it's the longest that I've ever gone consecutively getting 10,000 steps. That's not a goal that I ever did before. That's not something that I ever worked on before. If I got 10,000 steps, I was like, wow, what a great day. But I never sought it out. And those first few days, I really noticed it in my legs. I could feel it. I could feel that I was deconditioned. I could feel and notice my muscle atrophy, which I know has been going on pretty much the whole time since surgery. I've just not been working on it like I kind of needed to, but I just didn't really feel ready. And I don't know how to describe that as much as it just didn't feel like the right time to be putting that emphasis on. But in the last couple of weeks, I've really felt like this was the time to ramp it up and this is what I wanted to do. And it has made a huge difference. I am so much more active and I'm so much more consistent at getting up early, going for a walk. I mean, 2-mile walks are nothing for me now. It just feels right. And it's been opening this door into more activity because the more I do and the more I get used to it, the more I want to do. And it's just building on itself. And now I feel like I'm ready to actually incorporate maybe some workouts, some strength training, now that I feel like I'm getting used to being active. And that is important. I feel like I needed to be ready and want to tackle that myself, because if I just jump into something because I should and I need to work out because that's what you do and you got to be healthy, then I'm gonna hate it, right? I don't want to hate working out. I love being active. I love when my heart gets pumping. I love going on walks in the morning with the dog, and I really loved strength training when I did it a couple of years ago. It really made me feel good and accomplished, and that's what I want. I want to do things that feel like it's something that I want to do and I'm looking forward to. And forcing yourself to go to the gym or to do workouts that you don't want to do does not build a healthy habit. So I feel like I'm finally at that point where I'm ready and I love it. I really feel like I have a lot of energy. Can you tell? I might be a little up here and I need to be a little down here. All that to say that I do think that actually has affected my weight loss. And you're going to hear a lot of things all the time about how muscle weighs more than fat, or people arguing about how a pound of muscle weighs the same as a pound of fat, but blah, blah. Okay, so here's the deal. Muscle is denser than fat. So yes, a pound of muscle weighs the same as a pound of fat, just like a pound of anything weighs the same as a pound. It's a pound, for crying out loud. But the muscle is a different shape and it's denser. So a pound of muscle actually takes up less space in your body than a pound of fat does. And on top of that, toning your muscles changes the way that your body is shaped. I don't know if you've ever looked into this before, if you've seen before and afters of people who are toning their bodies. They're building muscle in specific areas, that they're looking for a specific look of their body. You can sculpt your body to look certain ways to a certain extent by working specific muscle groups. Why am I going on about that? The point is, muscle is important, and that's why everybody will tell you to make sure that you're taking measurements along your journey, taking pictures and taking measurements, not just going off of the scale. Now, I take pictures all the time. I take pictures for social media and stuff, but I also take pictures every month in the same general outfits so I can compare, and I compare it every single month. I don't take measurements, partially because I didn't start with taking measurements, and now it's been so long that I'm embarrassed that I didn't start. So now it's kind of like a principle thing, like, well, I didn't start then, so I'm just not going to do it now. And you'll see. One of these days I will start my measurements and I'll go from there with the measurements that I have. I'm kind of bummed that I don't have measurements from the first time that I started, because those numbers would be so interesting to look at, and I don't have them. And so it just makes me sad. So I don't take measurements because it just reminds me that I kind of dropped the ball on that. But take measurements. Do it as I say, not as I do, because those things are important. Your body changes shape. You will lose inches, whereas you might not lose weight. Because if you're building muscle, for example, your body composition will change. And also, you will not necessarily change on the scale. But because that muscle takes up less room than the fat, if you're building muscle at the same time as you're losing fat, you will see that in pictures and you'll see that in measurements. I would not be surprised in the slightest with how active I've been. I went from like 0 to 60, you guys. Like, I wasn't doing anything. Like, I wasn't even walking regularly. And okay, maybe it's not 60. Maybe it's like 0 to 45 or something. 0 to 20 miles an hour in a school zone. The point is, I really did bump up my my exercise, my activity level. And so I'm not surprised at all that I'm not seeing like a huge drop in weight. People seem to think, you bump up your exercise and stuff and you're just going to see this like massive drop in weight and it's going to be amazing. And your body just doesn't work that way, especially if you take into the consideration that I have a malabsorptive surgery. I am getting less calories than I'm even logging in my app, because whatever I consume, I actually absorb less than that. And so if I'm burning extra calories and I am not, absorbing as many calories, my body might be like, whoa, wait a minute. Are we okay here? Like, are we okay? And then I'm like, no, seriously, we're okay. Everything's fine. Like, I don't know. I don't believe you, because this is new and normally you eat. And I'm like, yeah, but listen to all of the organs. Like, we're fine and we're not hungry. So after this back and forth for a little bit, I think my body's going to chill and then realize that, yes, we're okay. We can keep losing weight. We're not going to starve. We're not dying. It is just a thing. It's a thing that happens. And it's one more reason why I'm trying to remind myself that it's okay that I'm not seeing a huge loss right now. Because not only that, put everything that I just said, put it all into a little box and throw it away. Because I'm changing into good habits. Like, who cares about the weight loss, or whether or not my body is being sculpted appropriately, or whether or not I'm losing inches, or what my comparison photos look like, when I am building these really good habits of getting my ass out of bed every morning and going for a 2-mile walk with my dog. We put so much emphasis on what we eat and how much weight we're losing and how fast we're doing it, and we're not looking at the big picture. And I have to take a step back and I have to realize I'm building something great. I'm building a life that I want to live. I'm building the life that I should have been living before. I finally have energy. I finally have motivation and desires to go do things, and I'm doing it. And not just every morning going on a walk, but like, hey, it's the weekend. Do you want to go for a hike or something? Like, we're going out and we're doing things. So yeah, maybe it is more like 0 to 45 and not a 20-mile-an-hour school zone, because I'm like doing stuff when I have a choice. You know, the other day I sat down to go play some video games because it'd been so long since I'd played anything, and then I realized that I really wanted to exercise instead, and I chose to do that instead. Who am I? These are the habits that I'm building, and it matters. It matters. So yeah, I only lost 6 pounds in the last month, but boy, do I feel different. Like, this month feels totally different than the last month, and that means something. Speaking of feeling different than the last month, you know what I really noticed this month was that my body hurts. And I don't mean like my feet. Like, all this extra walking would kill my feet before, and they don't hurt anymore. I can do 10,000 steps in my sleep and my feet don't ache. My body aches in other ways. I have a shoulder ache now that I really think has to do with my posture. And if you haven't noticed, I'm very, like, I'm hunching forward. I should sit upright. Ugh. My posture's terrible. My posture was never good before surgery, but after surgery, and they will warn you about this if you do some research on it, your body is used to holding your fat and holding your weight in different ways. And now that I don't have that bulk on me, I find myself kind of crumpling in on myself when I'm sitting and I'm not paying attention, because it is so very different. My body doesn't hold itself up the same way. I feel like gravity pulling down at my shoulder, and I really need to work on my ergonomic setup for my computer and for my work, because I really think that that's a big part of it. But the other big part is sleeping. Before surgery, I was a stomach sleeper. I could not fall asleep unless I rolled onto my stomach. My chiropractor was mad. He was like, why? You've got to find a way to sleep in a different position. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and I just could never get comfortable enough to fall asleep unless I rolled onto my stomach. And now I have a very hard time falling asleep on my stomach. In fact, oddly enough, I think I sleep better now if I'm on my back, and that was the opposite, the complete opposite as before. I really feel uncomfortable a lot when I sleep now, and I'm trying to work on that, but I think part of it is just an adjustment with the way that, again, everything sits on my body, the way that I hold myself, the postures that I'm in. I just have to find that sweet spot as I'm adjusting and work on it and just see what I can do. So that is a thing that I've really noticed is just, I feel like my back pain is worse, and I thought that it would be better by losing weight, but I think it's really being affected by the way I'm sleeping. And then just general, aches with the way that I hold myself. It's an adjustment. I want to end the video with non-scale victories. I want to start doing that with my updates. The things that I've noticed that are not weight related that are making a difference in my life. My towel at home, my bath towel, fits all the way around me and is finally closed up all the way around me. That's just one of those things that all of us bigger people mention, like being able to have a towel go all the way around you and not just be like flailing open and showing the whole world your business. I've been watching that gap get smaller and smaller and smaller, and now finally I can say comfortably I could stand there and the towel is closed around me and there's no gap at all. That's huge. I used to, partially out of necessity and then partially out of comfort, use a beach towel as my shower towel because I could wrap it all the way around me with plenty of extra, and it just made me feel more comfortable. And we have regular towels and I'm able to wrap it around me. So that's really great. So then the next step would be those small little hotel towels. So when that goes all the way around me, I'll have made it. And then the last one is that my underwear is too big. And I'm going to call that a non-scale victory because it just feels right. Like I finally got to the point where my cheap ass has to buy new underwear because all of my old stuff, even the most uncomfortable, smallest pairs that I had before, will just fall down as I'm wandering around. They just fall down. All I gotta say is thank God I'm wearing pants because my underwear falls down way more than you would think. And I am finally at the point where I need to just retire it. I need to throw away all of my old pairs of underwear because they just don't fit anymore. And you know what? That feels really good to be at the point where it's like, I just can't wear this anymore. It is just too big. I can't justify it anymore. So on that note, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing or leaving a comment or a like. It really does help me out. I, as of right now, am at 495 subscribers. And when I get to 500, that's halfway to being at like the legitimate YouTube channel threshold. So I think I would like to do a live stream at 500 subscribers. Maybe next Tuesday I can do a live stream, can maybe do a little Q&A and just kind of touch base. I think it'd be really fun. I've never done a live stream before, and 500 subscribers I feel like is a really cool milestone for me. That's great. I'm like super stoked about it. So feel free to let me know what other types of subjects you would like to see on my channel, or if you have questions for me for a Q&A live stream, let me know what those are. You can always reach me either in the YouTube comments or on Instagram. I'm at OneFatBeat, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!